They gave us chart-topping hits, unforgettable performances, and the songs that became the soundtrack of our lives. From pop icons to rock legends and everything in between, these music stars defined entire eras of sound and style. But now it's 2025, and their looks have changed with time. Can you still recognize them today? You'll have 5 seconds to guess each one from their current look before we reveal the voice and face behind the music. Let's turn up the volume and dive into then versus now. Deborah Cox's stunning vocal range and stage confidence made her one of the most celebrated female solo artists of the 90s R&B scene internationally. Now 50 in 2025, she balances motherhood, stage musicals, and charity work, occasionally releasing independent projects that keep her close. Davina made waves with her heartfelt songwriting and soulful vocals, securing her spot as a promising solo act in the late 90s R&B scene. Now 54 in 2025, she has shifted to working behind the scenes as a vocal coach and indie music producer for younger performers. Chrisette Michele was celebrated for her jazz-inflected R&B vocals and compelling solo albums, becoming a Grammy-winning artist in the mid-2000s. At 43 in 2025, she releases occasional gospel projects while running wellness retreats and private vocal workshops for aspiring singers. Shantae Moore's impressive vocal range and relatable love songs made her one of the most celebrated female solo R&B artists of the 90s. At 57 in 2025, she continues to perform selectively at festivals, but spends much of her energy raising her children and supporting charities. Brian McKnight's smooth ballads and multi-instrumental talent solidified his reputation as one of the decade's most versatile solo performers. At 56 in 2025, he is semi-retired, focusing on family and mentoring programs while performing only a few intimate concerts each year. Brandy, called the Princess of R&B, dominated late 90s charts with unforgettable duets and solo hits, becoming a household name for her unique tone and flawless performances. At 46 in 2025, she prefers staying out of mainstream fame, focusing on acting, songwriting, and guiding young talent through music programs. Blue Cantrell's explosive debut single made her a household name in the early 2000s, recognized for her commanding vocals and confident stage presence. At 48 in 2025, she has left mainstream fame behind, occasionally performing at nostalgic music events while focusing on personal business. Angela Winbush was celebrated for her sultry R&B songs and powerful voice, making her a respected solo artist in the 90s music industry. At 69 in 2025, she lives a very private life, occasionally attending industry events while dedicating time to faith-based outreach programs. Amel Larue gained solo acclaim with her distinctive neo-soul voice after leaving Groove Theory, becoming a critical darling in the late 90s. Now 52 in 2025, she rarely releases new music, spending most of her time focusing on art projects and holistic health initiatives. Monica became one of R&B's brightest stars in the 90s, impressing audiences with her powerhouse vocals and relatable lyrics about love, heartbreak, and personal resilience. At 45 in 2025, she appears only on select stages and devotes most of her energy to raising her children and mentoring aspiring singers. Maxwell's sophisticated neo-soul sound and angelic falsetto earned him acclaim as one of the most gifted male solo artists of the 90s. At 51 in 2025, he appears only at carefully chosen venues, spending the rest of his time working on artistic projects and philanthropic efforts quietly. Mario Winans became famous with his emotional hit single, showing his talent as a solo artist after years of producing music for others. At 50 in 2025, he continues producing behind the scenes and works with charities supporting children interested in the arts. Marc Anthony became one of the world's leading Latin pop solo stars, celebrated for his passionate performances and distinctive tenor voice during the late 90s. At 57 in 2025, he performs rarely, focusing on family and producing music for younger Latin artists making their mark in the industry. Lil Mo's powerful vocals and collaborations with major artists cemented her as a prominent solo voice in early 2000s R&B music. At 47 in 2025, she focuses on ministry work, writing gospel music, and raising her children while occasionally performing for nostalgic audience. Kenny Lattimore became known as one of R&B's most elegant male voices of the late 90s, famous for romantic ballads and a polished public image. Now 56 in 2025, he is mostly behind the scenes, offering vocal coaching, recording independent projects, and occasionally performing at Khalees made waves in the music world with bold lyrics, colorful visuals, and a genre-bending approach that stood out in the late 90s solo scene. At 46 in 2025, she focuses on her culinary business and family life, releasing new music only sporadically to satisfy longtime support. Keith Sweat became a household name in the 90s with smooth vocals, heartfelt slow jams, and platinum albums that defined the era's R&B sound. At 63 in 2025, he rarely performs, focusing instead on hosting a syndicated radio show and helping younger artists navigate the complex. Kandi Burruss successfully transitioned from group fame to solo acclaim with relatable R&B songs and a reputation as a talented songwriter and businesswoman. At 48 in 2025, she focuses heavily on television projects and entrepreneurial ventures while occasionally collaborating with new artists. John B.'s smooth voice and crossover appeal made him an essential solo act on R&B radio, building a strong reputation as a talented songwriter and producer. Now 50 in 2025, he focuses on producing for other artists while appearing at nostalgic live shows for longtime dedicated fans. Jessica Fokker was a Swedish pop star who achieved global fame in the late 90s with her powerful voice and emotionally charged singles. At 46 in 2025, she leads a quiet life, occasionally participating in nostalgic music events across Europe. India, Aries' uplifting lyrics and soulful sound earned her multiple Grammys and a reputation as a positive solo artist in early 2000s R&B. At 49 in 2025, she spends most of her time on personal growth retreats, releasing new music independently only when inspired. Heather Headley captivated R&B and gospel audiences with her emotive ballads and commanding stage presence in the early 2000s. At 49 in 2025, she continues performing occasionally on Broadway, but keeps a lower public profile, spending time with her family and church work. Go Apel became known for her smooth neo-soul style and empowering lyrics, making her a critical favorite in the early 2000s solo landscape. At 47 in 2025, she balances motherhood with occasional live performances and community-based music initiatives in California. Glenn Lewis' neo-soul debut was praised for heartfelt lyrics and a smooth vocal style reminiscent of Stevie Wonder, earning him strong solo success. At 49 in 2025, he releases independent projects occasionally while devoting most of his energy to mentoring up-and-coming Canadian R&B talent. Genuine was one of the smoothest voices of the 90s, with signature dance moves and hits that became classics of R&B radio and MTV at the time. At 54 in 2025, he has largely stepped back from the spotlight, choosing to tour rarely and concentrate on personal growth and supporting his adult children. Faith Evans' soulful voice and collaborations with icons like the Notorious B.I.G. cemented her status as one of the 90s defining solo female R&B artists. At 51 in 2025, she lives a quieter life, writing for other artists and supporting music charities while occasionally making guest appearances at tribute events. Eric Bennett's soulful ballads and charismatic performances made him a prominent solo artist during the late 90s R&B resurgence. At 58 in 2025, he spends time mentoring young singers and occasionally returns to the studio to record independent projects for a loyal fanbase. D'Angelo's fusion of funk, soul, and R&B revolutionized neo-soul in the 90s, establishing him as one of the era's most critically acclaimed solo performers. At 51 in 2025, he makes rare public appearances, spending most of his time creating music privately and supporting emerging soul artists from the style may have evolved and the years may have passed, but true music legends never fade. How many did you guess right? Share your score in the comments. Tell us who surprised you most, and don't Forget to like, subscribe, and come back for more Then versus Now, where we celebrate the stars who made history with their music.